Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, creepy friends. Welcome to the mid-season finale of Thunderbirds Our Go review. I've managed to do this pretty quickly this week, which I'm so happy about, because literally since Series 2 started, we've not exactly been on par with the timing. I've apologised for that. Unfortunately, there's normally unforeseen circumstances that just stop me doing anything. I've just done some quick makeup stuff, so if my eyes and my face look dodgy, I'm sorry, but I can't be perfect all the time, and that is one thing I always try to teach people, is that you don't have to be perfect on camera all the time. It's kind of fun to look a little bit messy. So I did sit up this morning. I think I forgot it was on and I watched it about 20 minutes after it started, but I did watch it as a whole, and it was I really enjoyed it. I think there was quite a good few twists and turns with it. It had excitement. So let's get into it. It was called Escape Proof, namely going to supposedly how escape proof the hood cell was, which of course it actually wasn't. So the episode opens with Penelope and Parker searching another abandoned place for the mechanic, and they eventually come across this big huge hole, and there's a poor little guy called Horse trapped down there. This of course launches the only two guys at base, which is Virgil and Gordon, who go and save the guy, which Penelope and Parker don't want to wait for, so they do actually kind of get down there a little bit quicker and call out and assure the Horse that someone's coming, but in the process start to worry that something else is actually going on here. I was starting to feel at this point like it was a trap. There's a big hole, there's some poor guy trapped, and I was thinking to myself, is there really a guy trapped down here, or is this just a big massive trap? So when Virgil and Gordon arrive, they take care of finding Horse, and Penelope meanwhile goes to track there was a mechanic signal down there, so she goes with Parker to track that, drives off in Fab 1. The route eventually ends up being led to the underground, or the nearness of Parkmore Prison, which who's there, everyone? That's right, the Hood's there. I feel like I need the dun 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 running behind me right now. At this point in time we see something. Penelope stops where it's a dead end, and that they felt like they saw something, but when they look up there's something going up from underneath. And meanwhile at the GDF base we find out that the reason they couldn't help the rescue was because they had all been falsely called away. So it's all been a big ploy to get rid of everyone, and now there's something coming up from underneath right where Hoodie's prison is, and eventually it just sucks up his prison, like just literally goes and takes his whole prison inside it, and then starts going back down, right on top of where Penelope and Parker are. So it's like, boom, drive away! Drive and run far away. Meanwhile, poor old Gordon and Virgil were still trying to track down Horse, who doesn't shut up, as it turns out. And Penelope's saying, we're getting closer, you really got to find this guy. He's trapped in some rubble. I'm assuming he's been down there fixing pipes, got trapped, probably because of what the mechanic's been doing, which is breaking out the Hood. So trying to get rid of Penelope and Parker, the Hood sets his there was a name for them beginning with M. I called them bug bots. He sets them on them. Parker thankfully can missile, blow them out and get rid of them pretty quickly. Quick enough they do find the pipe where Horse is trapped, and they do manage to rescue Horse quite quickly and get back in Pod Explorer as Penelope catches up with them as the Hoods, it's called an antline they call it, as it's coming literally down this hole, chasing after them, and they're gonna like all be blown up because some of the pipes down there are actually fuel lines, and people are going to blow up if they get cut. Everyone's out safely when the mechanic stops his craft, and the Hood immediately tells him, go up, I want you to go up, I want you to go up there now. But the mechanic's saying, I don't think that's a good idea. But the Hood here is his eyes glowing, and we can see that he's completely in control. Like, we always thought that there was someone one higher than the Hood, and maybe we were thinking it was the mechanic. As it turns out, the mechanic is actually only another one of his foot soldiers, and the mechanic is taking pure orders from the Hood here. So they launch, and that's when the Hood completely turns his back on the mechanic, says, oh, I thought I'd leave them you while I escaped, or so we think. What the Hood does is this little thing in his eye, we'll get on to talking about that, makes him zap, because the mechanic's obviously attached to all the things that make him do all the cool magical power things with his crafts and all that, which I've loved that from the start. I've always thought that was pretty damned awesome. And he literally zaps him. It's the first time we've ever seen the mechanic on the floor hurt, which was a pretty poignant thing for me there. But just as we think he's there, he isn't. There's no mechanic, there's no Hood, the GDF go into an empty craft with a countdown. Kaboom it goes, of course, which obviously has probably set the lines down there maybe a little bit snapped up as well. So the nice ant hole is now a big hole with big flames. The episode ends with no mechanic, no hood. Everyone's watching the flames, which was a real thing with CGI in the back, which I loved. Meanwhile, we see Colonel Casey go by with her eye flashing. What's going on there? He's compromised the poor cow. Is it really Colonel Casey? So many questions. And we're not going to know them for like a few months now. That's just not fair. How can you do that to us? So the episode opened with menacing danger music behind Penelope and Parker, which always says one thing to you. Stuff's going down. Is anyone else still a little bit indifferent about Sherbet the dog? I'm still not convinced on Sherbet whatsoever here. I still feel like it makes her look shallow, Penelope, in a way. It's just for me. But Sherbet has proved useful in many ways, sensing stuff and barking at stuff, and maybe he's got a purpose. I'm just not on board with it still. Can we please, and I don't know if it's ever been on Facebook or anything like that, you know how the Facebook can have those pictures where you can like go around like that and see everything? Can we please have one of those put up of Tracy Island? Because I keep seeing every time they're showing people running off to launch, I feel like I can see elements from the old original set, and I just really want a 360-degree view of it so that I can play with it like that and go around and try and pick out different bits from the old set. There's quite a few little odd moments between Penelope and Gordon here, obviously still hinting on that mini romance when they're shielding themselves from the blast at the end of the episode. He's got his arm round her. He worries about her when she says, oh, you know, when has it ever stopped me before? Cute little moments. Do we want to see him get it on? Yeah, it'd be cute, wouldn't it? But although we did always, as I said, feel like Jeff Tracy and Penelope were going to be a couple, but we're settled for Gordon and Penelope, right? I loved Horse in this episode. Unlike Tedford and Fischler and the other guy whose name I can't remember. God, what is that French guy's name? Francois Lemaire. Unlike those three, I quite enjoyed Horse, and if they brought Horse back, I'd quite enjoy him to see him again. I'm assuming he's only a one-trip rescue, though. And he was actually voiced by Omid Jalili. I recognised the voice completely, but I recognised it and I was sitting there going, I know it, I know it, I know it. And then at the end, the credits come up. I was like, yes, I knew it was you. I knew it was someone I knew. Did Gordon need to wear his scuba gear? Did you? It was one thing I noticed. I was sitting there looking at him, and I noticed him and Virgil putting their helmets on, and I was initially thinking, okay, if they're moving stuff, fine, they probably need the helmets to shield their faces. They obviously didn't need it for oxygen purposes, but Gordon had on his full oxygen tank and his scuba mask, and I was thinking, do you need that? You're not going underwater. So when we finally had the first scene between the Hood and the mechanic, yeah, I got a little bit of a chill. There was a cool little moment there. I quite like that. They just had this complete moment of, you're late, you're 2 weeks late, and it was master and subject, but it was very much the two forces of evil coming together, and we were like, oh, I enjoyed it. I wish they'd had more stuff to do together, actually. So the one thing we learned here is that this little thing that the Hood has in his eye, it's not the powers, unfortunately, but it does control stuff, and I'm sure the Hood was holding on to something which electrocuted the mechanic, but I'm fairly sure the eye thing has got purpose. I mean, I put down that I think the Hood's eye thing gives him powers and makes him be able to do and control things. I'll take that. I'll take that. It might be computerized, it might be a complete departure from what we used to know. I'll take it. They've found a way to put the powers in. I'm a happy girl. I just feel like there's so many questions unanswered after this episode. Colonel Casey, the Hood and the mechanic have both escaped. Where are they? Have they escaped together? Have they escaped separately? What does this mean now in terms of what's going to happen going into the next half of the series in a few months' time? Are we going to have the mechanic going against the Hood due to wanting his own back? Is it going to be destruction everywhere and Thunderbirds are having to clear it up? Are we going to eventually see the two of them come back together? What's going on with Colonel Casey? What's going on at all? It's definitely given a good end of half series anyway minute to draw us back in for the next part. Originally we were chasing the Hood, but now we're chasing the mechanic and the Hood. They don't know that they're separate. Head explosion! Like serious, like boom, in my mind right now of questions that I need answering. One thing left to discuss before we close for this mid-series and we talk about what we're going to do in the break. There's a 5 PM rumour. The episodes so far, up until before Christmas, have been on between 3:30 and 4, was it? But there's a rumour going around that I read that it's going to be on in the next part of it from 5 o'clock, because I read up and I was actually right, oh god, battery, that there's actually been a lot of controversy or a lot of negative reviews about them finishing and doing the times as they did, as I've said from the start. And there's a rumour going around that when it comes back it's going to be on at 5 p.m. Complete good idea. Do it at 5 p.m. That's all I'm saying on the subject matter. What are we going to do now in the mid-season break? Obviously, I'm not going to do Thunderbird weeklies until TBAG comes back, but I will start to do a couple of things that we haven't done. So as you know, when TBAG started up, I was supposed to be finishing off the 1965 episodes. So we'll finish the last one of that. Was that the stately home robberies I think we were doing there? I'm going to do that one, and then Attack of the Alligators straight after. After Attack of the Alligators is done, we'll take a couple more requests, but I'll try and do them maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. The reason we do that and not do it weekly, there's only so many episodes of Thunderbirds to go through, and I don't want to waste them, so that's why. Thank you everyone for being here and keeping with me. I know I'm a bit delayed and you're all really good about that, so thank you so much for being here. Please comment on what you thought about the episode. Was there anything I missed? Was there anything I didn't pick up on? Do let me know, and I will see everyone again for more Thunderbirds coming up in the weeks to come. I'll see everyone again. Bye.